Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. It seems Wildfire has a bad tummy, so we may have
Oh,
to proceed without him. Are you going to take the lead?
sure. Who's joining us today?
Mr.
Who's
Mawere is supposed to join us, but if he's late, it's fine. We can still start without him. But
okay?
but I have a script with me here. I don't know whether you received one. Uh, Maybe I can just introduce it and then you take the lead from there.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Welcome to this morning's virtual coffee session, courtesy of 1873 FM. Today, our discussion is entitled "In Search of Excellence" and a conversation on journalism in the digital age. All right. So this is a follow-up to the show, to the Monday show, which was entitled "Journalism versus Activism." So in the era of social media, real-time broadcasting by anyone online to multiple platforms, information dissemination, communication, or journalism seems to have become the forte of Mr. and Mrs. Joe Public. So which means basically anyone can call themselves a journalist somehow, or that is the question. And then there's also the issue of identity politics in relation to the profession of journalism. So we'd like to interrogate questions that we think should be mainstreamed on what a journalist is and what they are not, and also maybe look at what an activist or what is not. But today, we would like to put the spotlight on journalists, independent journalists, broadcasters on social media platforms. What makes an excellent journalist? Is there a blurred line that exists between a journalist and an activist? So once again, I would like to welcome Natasha Vikoka. Welcome.
There we
again.
go. Thank you so much. I've got a very, very weird surname. It's when, as Afrikaans people try and, pronounce Zulu or Xhosa or, those kind of surnames. So and they've got that little click and so we kind of sound like we're dyslexic or something. Thank you for the show today. And I hope Wildfire gets better soon. And, the show, we will try and do our best to keep making him proud today. This is exactly what Ntumwa was, says, and we actually had a very interesting show on this as unforeseen circumstances and how we need to cope on them. And this is especially one of those unforeseen circumstances today where we don't have our other co-hosts, so we're kind of running solo. Yesterday's topic was a very interesting topic, and I think it raised a lot of questions, and a lot of people had their very strong opinions, and once again, it's everybody's got their own opinion, their own views, and on these kind of things. And yes, we need to kind of unpack these kind of situations and these kind of topics so that people can understand them. Because once again, we had actually had journalists that were tuning in, and they were contributing to the show, and then we also had people from the public that contributed to the show. So we literally had the yin and the yang yesterday, which was amazing. Thank you for joining me on the show, and I see Signora is back again. He's part of our show every day. Welcome.
Welcome to the show, Signora. It's good to have you back again. And then, so we want to discuss Natasha, what are the ideal qualifications for a journalist?
Well, I think the ideal journalist is someone that's a neutral person. It's someone that doesn't take a side. A journalist is not supposed to be picking sides. I want to take an example like CNN. CNN is so anti-Donald Trump, but they are supposed to be a natural and a neutral party between what is happening in America and Donald Trump, but they are so against Donald Trump. So that's that to me, that is something that's not okay. Like I said, a journalist needs to be someone who can unpack a story in a neutral way, who doesn't choose a side, and gives the honest truth, or at least try and give the truth that they can give towards the reader or towards the listener.
Yes, yes. So, what would constitute what we can then call maybe craft competence for one to be considered a journalist? What skills should they have? Do they have to be schooled to get this type of journalistic education, or they can just acquire the knowledge elsewhere, which is so-called education, and still practice? So, what for one to be an excellent journalist? What are the basic skills that they should require?
Well, okay. So I believe, and this is something that I believed, and I obviously pointed out very directly and clearly, is that people who are journalists need to have that qualification, which is a diploma or a certificate or a degree, and obviously they have to have good grammar. But once again, you are learned in university or college to do a specific thing. You are taught the skill to be able to identify the facts, how to take them and then take them apart, and to utilize those facts so that you don't think, look, journalism, you're going to insult people, you're going to step on toes, you're going to burn bridges. That's unfortunately what a journalist does. They do take, and they give you the sad, hard truth. But to be able to become that, you need to have the qualification. I cannot become a journalist. Yesterday Matumwa said that, because I'm on the radio, I'm part of media now. That does not make me a journalist. Unfortunately, that doesn't make me a journalist. So I cannot go out there and write articles about things that are serious things in the world. So to me, you need to have a qualification to be a journalist. It's like a lawyer. You need to be qualified to be a lawyer to be able to give advice to people, because there are ways of doing things, and there are ways of doing the right thing and saying the right thing and giving the right advice. Same with the journalists. They have to give the right information to the people so that they don't cause this havoc where people have xenophobia or people are burning down buildings because of information that has been fake news, or information that's inaccurate, or information that's not been given over to another person in the right way.
All right. So, in other words, you're saying a journalism qualification is the bona fides. It should be the bona fide for one to be recognized as a journalism and as a journalist.
Yes.
It's a must that one must have. So, does any other experiential learning count? Because there are some people who are very capable of analyzing information or writing critiques, or even but they do not have bona fide journalistic qualifications. Does that exclude them? Does that exclude then experiential learning?
No, I won't say it excludes them, but obviously, if you've got experience in writing and you do critique, but you remember, someone that does that, it's a whole different label that they've obviously given themselves. So to me, look, yesterday we had the conversation about blogging and bloggers who think they are journalists. But I think, you can learn a skill, but for people to kind of take you serious, I think you kind of do need to have that kind of certification behind you, because I don't trust anybody who puts anything on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever if it's not from a reputable source. I do try to take the news with a very small pinch of salt, because there's so much going on about that. But it's kind of I think it's kind of like in the middle. It's kind of on the fence about, do you need a qualification or not? But it's once again for the person that's reading the article, for them to make that decision. Are they going to trust the person that's got the certificate, or they're not? So I think from my point of view, I think you kind of need to have that kind of qualification, because it makes sense to have a qualification, because it kind of takes away from the word journalism. If any person from the public can just write an article, what about the poor person? Because then everybody can become a journalist by doing a grammar course or a creative writing course. I literally sometimes, when I read a newspaper, I literally wonder how these people can manage to write these articles, because they make sense. If I try and write a letter that's a page long, it's like I have paragraphs that repeat themselves throughout the letter. So from my side, it needs to have a qualification because people have learned towards this. It's to be honored. To be a journalist is an honorable thing. It's you are honored to be that. It's something you need to be proud of. And I think, look, if you want to get a job in journalism, you need to have that qualification. Unfortunately, you can't. I don't think they're just going to employ a random person from the street to be it. It doesn't matter how good you write. It's still. I think there's ethics behind it. I'm not sure if.
That one must get a qualification. But you also mentioned, Natasha, maybe Natasha, before we proceed, welcome, Thengiwe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. My apologies for the late connect. I had connection problems.
That's okay. I think the internet in COVID time is really, really, really testing our patience. Because we had last week we had a lot of internet was down as well, and then we had open SIR. They were digging up the roads, and it was just a nightmare.
All right, Natasha, you also mentioned a reputable source that a journalist would know how to obtain information from a reputable sources. What makes a reputable source? What is a reputable source? Isn't that a matter of opinion or subjective?
Look, I fully believe a journalist needs to do their research. You cannot be putting stuff in the news that is not true. So yes, people have. I don't know I think they call them. It's like a whistleblower. I'm not sure if that's the right word. They get a bit of information from someone, and then they obviously do a story on it. But once again, they need to check the facts, and that is a reputable source. It's to know that the facts that you are putting out there is correct and it's factual. It's not just anything that you've took from the air and you putting it onto a piece of paper. So to me, a reputable source and a reputable fact is something that is factually correct and that you can literally stand behind and say this is correct. So that to me, that is what it is. And an opinion is something different.
All right. So there's a difference between hard news and opinion pieces or feature writing, etc., etc. That's what you say. Okay, no, that is fine. Maybe Thengiwe.
Yes.
What is your take on this discussion today? We're discussing where in search of excellence. Our conversation is on journalism in the digital age. We've just had a discussion with Natasha where we were trying to interrogate the qualifications that an ideal journalist should possess before they can practice or call themselves a journalist. What are the ideal qualifications? What are the bona fides? And what constitutes craft competence for one to be considered a journalist? What is your view on that?
For me, well, thank you so much for that. For me, what in a way shows that a person is competent in whatever respective field they are in, it's honesty. When you, as a person, take the decision, now this is outside what you are told by your superiors. When you as a person stick to your decision and take the decision of being honest and truthful to whatever it is that you are researching and verifying your information. That for me, not cutting corners. And the most painful thing about journalists or reporting that is fair, not biased and objective, because someone say objectivity does not exist if we are emotional beings, and that's another topic. However, for me, literally what defines a truthful, craft extraordinaire in whatever field they are in is honesty. When you are driven by honesty and truth, no matter what you come across, if you come across stuff that will make you angry, and if you come across situations where emotions are attached because perhaps you had a certain relationship, whether good or bad, with a certain, somebody in that particular story, you will be honest and declare that and say, okay, may I not carry on with this angle? May somebody else take this particular angle because I'm too attached to the object or source. So for me, it's literally about truth. The rest then carries on. The rest carries on as to what guides you and what guides your organization that you're working for. Now, talking about independent journalists, because the beautiful thing about this is the fact that those who feel like they're suppressed in your reputable newspapers and, other platforms, print media, radio, TV, and those who feel like their voice is being suppressed and they feel like bureaucracy is taking control. What I love about them, that is good. One good thing a person can do, or one good thing other people are doing, is to do truthful blogging in a sense. And truthful is very subjective in this instance. And then they decide to open their own website, and mind you, that person can either be qualified nor unqualified, but it doesn't matter. Now, this person is still driven by telling the truth. Then in that instance, for me, that's the foundation of everything. You can follow that person. Whether they use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it does not matter when they write, but they are easy to follow. They are easy to ask questions. They are easy to challenge, because you know that it's coming from a place of wanting to also learn and listen to the other people, and not just writing something because they want to discredit, a certain organization or person.
All right. So
I think you put him off track there.
in other words, you're saying that as long as one is so as long as one is honest and they're speaking truth, whether it's to power or whatever it is, and they have passion for telling stories and disseminating information, they could be they could transform that passion into an occupation that can be called journalism. Is that what you're saying? Did I paraphrase it correctly?
Definitely. Because if for instance, let me make just a typical example for 30 seconds. In politics, there are people in power, and the main aim of the general public is to hold them accountable. So accountability should not be fueled by malicious intentions. Accountability should not be pushed by your own propaganda to get deals or to bring somebody down. Accountability is about asking relevant questions and asking the truth and seeking the truth, and that's just about it. But people are using the space wrong, and it saddens me. It saddens me because people are pushing agendas. Even the very journalists are used and bought to push a certain narrative so they can get money. Other journalists are suppressed because they want to tell the truth. Therefore, they are not given that opportunity or platform. So it's a very tricky one, and it's really, really sad, because what you learn in school and what you see in the workplace, these are two totally different things.
So you would say one would, the person who's more independent, obviously those ones who use the system or the opportunity for their personal gains or for their personal pockets, to give fake information or give information that the person who's got the wallet's trying to, paint the picture about themselves, contradict the person that's actually doing this for the right purpose.
Exactly.
See, I think this is in all the industries. This is the same thing, because you've got the person that really takes your money, and then they give you a service, and then the end of the day, that service is so bad that you are marked. Your industry is marked as a wrongful service, and the trust in people are lost completely. And I fully agree with you, because you get good people out there that are for a cause. That's a little bit more activism, but they believe in the truth, and you get the people, like you say, who do it for their own benefit at the end of the day. And that obviously that makes people not believe what's being said in the news. I think that's what causes so much conflict.
Loses credibility.
So now, if Signoro says that there's a fine line between quality of product and capacity to produce, and then also earlier on he mentioned that yes, a qualification is good, but it's recommended that one has a qualification so that they can get a certain direction.
Oh, I like what Signoro said. Yeah.
Yes,
okay, so
and then but then I want to just to what he's saying. Sorry. Now, isn't there a risk now that the so-called bona fide journalists will feel that their profession now has become a free-for-all. If anyone with these qualities that Klenyo has described and that you described, Natasha, now when they feel that their profession is being denigrated and not being protected.
Yes, I think people feel that, and the quality of the articles or the news or the information that they're giving people is when people start losing credibility in something. The public kind of believes what it's a good part. They believe in the good. They believe in what makes them feel good. They don't believe in what the truth is. So basically, they're taking the journalists and they're making them look bad. And then the journalists, from a psychological point of view, will kind of start degrading themselves. And the quality of work that they will be putting out will be bad. And it will be bad. It will be worse than what they were. It's something that, to be a journalist, like I said, it has to be an honor. Because, you are giving people hope, sadness, you're making them happy. You are the person that can control the people who's reading your articles, how they would feel. You are kind of the one that makes them happy, angry, sad, a glimpse of hope. But when people come and they break your industry down by putting out the bad facts, that whatever makes them kind of look good, it kind of takes your credibility away, and you as a good journalist start degrading yourself and being like, am I doing the right thing? You start doubting yourself, and then it reflects in your work at the end of the day. But we can't, it's, once again, it's something the public needs to decide. Are they going to follow someone that, is going to just give them what they want them to see? Or will they be following someone that's going to show them the good and the bad and the ugly? It's something, I think, at the end of the day, the public, it's obviously their way, obviously their choice.
But I can tell you that in the digital age, from my experience on social media platforms, people like they follow what they like to hear. If you tell them or you give them content
sensationalism,
to their tastes and good to their ear, they will take it, even if it's rubbish. So isn't journalism about giving people what they want to hear as well? I'm just
even if it's BS. Excuse my Italian language, but even if it's nonsense, and that's a sad reality, and that is a sad reality, because
like I said, yes, the people wanted, especially, it's like a time of COVID, we're in a situation where we have so much that is uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen the next second. I follow the, the cases that come in every day. And last night we had 2,500 cases. About a week ago, we had 15,000 cases. So it makes you kind of wonder, is this real? But for the people out there that want to go back to normal, have the alcohol ban lift or have the cigarette ban lift, they are clinging to this kind of information, if it's now correct or not, because this is a glimpse of hope for them that, let's say in a week or in a month's time, they can freely go and buy alcohol, drink at a nightclub. It's kind of like a glimpse of hope. And this is what makes people have bump heads in the future, is because of these kind of information that goes out. Because when someone cannot give someone what they've promised them a week ago, people are going to be like, but I told you they're not true. I told you this is not true. I told you they were lying. And then people start conflicting one another. To me, it's like I said, people need to kind of be more but open-minded when it comes to news. You need to not take what's been given. Just think about it before you act towards it.
Yes. And then there's a comment from Bule Murugani. He asks, is it not editorial policy that controls the narrative? Is journalism about storytelling or truth-telling? Klenyo, what's your take on Murugani's comment there?
It's storytelling for those publications who are after numbers and all of that, who are after, quantity as opposed to quality. Truth telling is about papers and organizations or journalists or papers or publications that are about the truth, holding accountability, holding truth and telling truth to power, and not caring about capital. Because once you're honest, nobody would want to advertise with you. And obviously, with print media, if you are solely reliant on, advertisers and clients for stories and whatnot, then clearly people are not going to advertise with you. Hence, sabotage then comes to play. It's how you navigate your way around that. It's easier when the person running that particular organization, perhaps with employees and all of that, has the resources. Or if they don't have the resources, they then say, okay, cool, we don't have the resources, we can't afford office spaces. Therefore, everyone should work in their own comfortable space at home, and we all send each other's work, proofread, all of that, then print it out. So for me, it's just about that. And now, at least you don't have to waste money and resources with printing if you can just strictly go digital and a person can print for themselves. So for me, it's both. It depends with what drives the publications. And what hurt me when I used to work for another radio station previously, these are the journalists who worked for these reputable, newspapers. One of them said, I am sad, I'm in agony, because our boss literally tells us to be on to be on, personalities, Instagram and Twitter accounts and all of that, and take whatever it is that they say and transform it into a story. Hence, you will read a headline, because a headline is not the full story. I always tell people that don't listen to a sound bite. Don't listen and just read a headline and formulate a story. Listen to the whole content of the story, and so that you can understand the context. And now we believe headlines and sound bites as opposed to the whole story. Nobody wants to ask the source or the person that's writing about what it is about. So for me, it's about that, unfortunately.
So there's a lot of partiality there with editorial policies, because now journalists are now writing according to the whims of their and wishes of their employers, isn't it? Now there's a comment from Janet Madagandeza there. She says, I think blogging is partial. It's someone giving a voice to their opinions to a wider audience. The bias is always clear. Whereas news journalism should be able to disseminate facts and objectivity. What do you think about
disseminate facts?
Natasha?
Look, I think when you're a journalist, you are kind of given the permission to just go step on some people's toes, because I think they give you, they're like, okay, you're a journalist, it's okay, but when you're a blogger, you don't have that permission. So, if you want to put your voice out there and you want to give your opinion to your audience, go for it. But once again, do not go and find a piece of news to write about if you don't know what it's about, because I promise you'll get into trouble. Nothing stops you from going to a journalist or a news site, or let's go to CNN or BACC or wherever you want to go, E-News Africa, and you write a blog about what is being put on there. If they're talking about the COVID vaccine, which is now being found in Russia, do your blog about it.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and make up your own story that no journalist or news knows about, because that is not okay. You'll get your fingers burnt.
Okay, there's another comment from the C2C WhatsApp platform that I would like to add here. This one is just, his name is just Shep. He says, I guess the big piece is journalists should conclude for their readers and viewers, or they should ask questions or write stories that allow their audience to reach their own conclusion. And then Maoneke says, if they are writing an opinion piece, then they should analyze and synthesize for their readers. If it's factual reporting, then they should report the facts as they are without opinion. Readers will then formulate their opinions from those facts. Now, I think that the type of journalism that Natasha is, or the type of journalist that Natasha is routing for, is the one that does factual hard news, which means information dissemination. And you are saying people who disseminate factual news should be trained journalists, because they have certain ethics that they have to follow. But if we now look at news feature writing and analysis and opinion pieces. That is a different type of journalism, because now content can be subject matter expertise, which means you can invite subject matter experts to write on a particular piece that they can then disseminate, or they can formulate their opinion on certain things, maybe recommend policy direction or recommend action or corrective action or whatever it is. Isn't that what? There should be a distinction there.
May I add to that?
Yes.
Because there's soft news and hard news. Soft news is like your opinion pieces, as you say, your light stuff, your profile interview, your jolly stuff, and your not heavy stuff. Then hard news is carte blanche journalism. Hence, there's carte blanche, there's cutting edge. Now your Deborah Potters, your Aldrin St. Pierre. Then now, I feel like what makes this space lose credibility is when the wires get crossed. When a soft news type of journalist is given a hard news story and they expect them to rise to the occasion. I mean, you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. A person needs to be placed where they are best suited. You know what I mean? Hence, your Bonang stuck to your events and whatnot, because she's not interested in doing news and talk shows and interviewing politicians. That's not her forte. She chose that.
She's not a trained journalist too. She's not a qualified journalist. So now, how then do we bridge the gap now from the traditional journalist with all those bona fides, the so-called license to practice, and the non-traditional journalist who has trained themselves through experiential learning and other learning systems? Now, how do we then bridge the gap in this digital age? Because now it's inevitable that we have
it's inevitable. You can't.
Now, how do we then bridge the gap now between the traditional and the new type of journalist?
Let them meet. Let them have a conversation. Let them box each other with ideas. That's the only way. Let them ask each other questions. Let them fight if needs be when it comes to words. Let them meet, because the only thing that's going to happen, I'll be bashing Natasha, and she'll be bashing me, and we're not talking to each other. We're just bashing one another. But now we need to have a focal point, because you'll find out that you actually agree on the same things. You know that when you talk to a person, you'll actually end up realizing that you have more in common than what you're fighting for.
I fully agree. You know what? We as people, we are two different people. The best people that can work together is when you have a book smart and when you have a street smart.
Thank you.
You've got someone that's trained, and then when you've got someone from the street. Because we've got a project which we are running, which is called Justice 4.0, and I've got in our group, we've got a lawyer which knows the law inside out, and then I'm the person that doesn't know anything about the law. Okay, I know the law, but I'm not trained in the law. But I can think for the person from the street. We hear things for the person from the courtroom. So it kind of complements one another, moving forward. And the same thing with journalism. You've got the person that is qualified, and then you've got the person from the street. That is the blogger or the influencer or the ambassador or the activist or whatever they want to be. To put them together in a room, they can put two different viewpoints on a topic. You can have the journalist hard facts, the research, the information, the going to the story, going to the source. And then you've got the opinion from the public. How would they feel about this? They can ask them the why, what, when, how, those questions. They can ask them those open questions to get their opinions, to just strengthen that journalist story. And by working together, you're not only journalists, but I think in the digital age that we are living in today, back from the tradition, we had newspapers. I think, and during COVID times, I don't even think newspapers exist anymore, because everything's online now. You've got News 24, you've got E-News is online, you've got CNN is online. Everything's online. It's always been online, but people are making more use to it. But nothing stops you from coming together, exactly like, and working together as two different people to create literally a firing story at the end of the day. It kind of answers the questions the public will be asking about your article at the end of the day.
Yes, I like what you say, that what Natasha and also Hlengiwe has said, that we should get them in the room. Now, can you imagine the traditional cab drivers, all right? Meter drivers wishing Uber away. they cannot continue wishing Uber away. Can you imagine some kind of revolutionary accounting up being wished away by accountants? It's not possible. There are certain ideas when they come through, they are so revolutionary that it's inevitable. So let's not have a situation where
prevent it.
now cab drivers are wishing Uber away. Uber is a cab service where whoever is running it does not own a single vehicle. But they have control of millions of cars. And they do it 100 times cheaper than a meter cab taxi. So,
and it's safer.
You join the train or you remain behind at the station. But one thing for sure is that the train is going to reach its destination once it leaves the station. But it only leaves with whoever is on board. I think there isn't there cause for a new type of training where we are now having a meeting point for the old journalist and the new journalist, so that now we get the best of both worlds, so that now we bridge the gap and we create some kind of shared understanding. So this this is one of the reasons why we are having this type of conversations. We want to contribute to the new normal. The new normal is a situation where the way we used to do things before is going to change. I was reading something, I don't remember who it was, I think it was Bill Gates. He said that if you have a business that is not online today, that business is not going to be alive for long. So digital space is the way to go. We are looking at non-location dependent workplaces now, where people are now working collaboratively together as part of communities, as part of any business initiatives, regardless of where you're sitting. I understand Natasha is sitting in Durban. You are sitting, where are you sitting? Is it PE?
Mpumalanga.
Oh, you're around the corner from my neighbor. Don't worry, we neighbors. We all sit in the same rooms, you know. We'll after COVID, we'll go.
Like literally, I can drive to you now, Natasha, and come back.
Exactly.
Oh, which part of Mpumalanga are you based?
Mbombela, Nelspruit.
Oh, Nelspruit.
The local.
I'm sitting in Harare. So you can imagine the people who are watching this show are scattered all over the world. All right. So what
but
But we're collaborating on this radio program. We are actually broadcasting all over the world. That is the new normal, and it's digital. It's digital based. Whatever we're doing today is going to leave a digital footprint. All right. It's going to be there in perpetuity online. My grandkids are going to see this, so will your grandkids. It's a legacy. This is the new type of journalism where we're saying it's non-location dependent. So people just have to realize that this is what it is. It's coming. Even if you do not have remote working skills to work remotely, you need to start learning. All right. You need to start learning to know the tools so that you can work effectively with teams, with other people, and collaborate without having even to meet in person and still get results. Everything is going to be result driven. So these are some of the initiatives that this program is powered by the C2C initiative and also the 1873 network. Other than provoking discussion around journalism, provoking discussion around the new digital age, etc., etc. We're also part of building a community of people with a shared understanding, people with common views, but all that understanding, those common views, they are actually agreed upon as people negotiate within the community. So this is very important. I was about to wrap up the program because I see we've already been on for 45 minutes. But I see Mr. Mawere there. Is there maybe, would you have something to say, Mr. Mawere, before we ask for everyone around?
All right. Now I got Mr. Senior who wants to be added. And I've always said to Mr. Senior, don't be added to something that you are not part of. Isn't it enough just to build a community, Senior? Then the people who are in the community then become the tribalist, the people who can discuss their own need to aggregate. So when you are looking at Sheikman Mugari is an experienced journalist, as the digital age changed the definition of journalism. There is no change of journalism because humanity does not change. I've not seen anyone with 3 legs, 3 eyes.
That we don't know of.
Yeah. But if history has them, we would know Wellington to be something else than human being. So if a journalist is a human being, the art of storytelling becomes a universal art. The art of any problem solving art becomes the art of humanity. So there are many people who are architects, and there are many people who are not trained to be architects. But they can imagine structures, they can imagine things that other people cannot imagine. So what do we learn about excellence? Imagine, Wellington, you go to a doctor, you see on the wall a certificate dated 1970. Then you look around, you see there's evidence of no one coming to that facility. Then he says, come in, let me operate you. You have seen the certificates, they're very impressive. But you just look around and see this is not a place for a doctor who is living and who is solving problems. What would you do?
Yeah, that would be a problem. I'm not sure what exactly I would do, but if there's no solution, I'll have to come up. I have to think on my foot and find a solution. But it's very difficult to give you the right answer there because I don't even have it.
So I walk away and I say to my friend, do you know of a doctor? And if they say they know of a doctor, I say, give me the number. So I go to that doctor, not by invitation, because I genuinely feel that this is not a doctor, although he's qualified. So a doctor becomes good when you have patience. Anyone who is surrounded by people, if imagine you have a show and nobody follows you, what would you do?
Yeah, you have to find other ways to maybe change the content of your show, the quality of production. Yes.
What do women do?
Maybe the women can.
Imagine you are the only woman in an island. Would you need to make up?
No.
No. I have a question.
Yeah. I just remain the way I am. Yeah, it doesn't cost me much. But you know the cost of being associated with others. Then you have to look at the car. You have to look at your shoes. You have to look at your dress. If someone is wearing the same dress, hey, you see, you can see that. Imagine you just walk up and you just say, look, I don't care. Yeah. So that is the problem. Imagine you do a show that you think is excellent. Then you wait for comments and no comments come through.
Literally, it also defeats the human spirit because you just get defeated. I totally understand you, Mr. Maurer. Someone once asked me this question and I'll pose it to you. We can discuss it on our WhatsApp group or something and then maybe share our views with all the people listening here. And you can also comment on the comment section, and thank you to everybody doing that. Someone once said, Klengi, it was, I think it was 12 years old. Klengi, if you were given the opportunity to choose and to be underneath a tree, let's say you're in an island somewhere, a desert somewhere, there's two trees. There's the one that bears fruit and the one that provides shade. Which one would you choose? I don't know. Which one would you choose?
I would choose both. I'm joking. I think the one that bears fruit. Because I can't multiply the shade. But the fruit I can multiply.
Yeah, the fruit can definitely multiply.
I can't hear you properly. I don't know if it's my mic or something.
Okay.
Maybe
But
only
we can hear you. But I want to say something, Mr. Mawe, where you say, imagine Thengiwe has a show that she thinks is awesome and probably warrants some good reviews or comments, etc., and there's nothing. Now, doesn't that raise the question, the issue of validation? What is the reason one is broadcasting? What is the reason one is disseminating information? Is it to get validation, or is it to disseminate a certain line of thinking or some honest news or truth? Because if it's for validation, obviously they would be disappointed. But there's nothing wrong with having a monologue.
There's a story. We go to school not to learn, but to compete.
That's tricky.
Knowledge is not in the school. Knowledge is everywhere. But if you want to be number one and you are the only one, then you don't need to go to school. But imagine you're number one, there's no number two. So we learn, we do things because we want to be valued, we want to be celebrated. Imagine you are in your high school, you've written exam, matric, and the results are posted in the newspaper. And you didn't make it. How do you feel?
Demotivated.
It's worse than being in a school and being quiet.
Distraught.
Yeah. So we have the issue is that we are human beings because we are competitive. We want to be the best of whatever is there. If I'm the best, nobody notices, then I'm the worst. So if you want to be the best in your craft, you don't have to be trained to be the best. Nobody can cause you to wake up at midnight looking for this question. Like yesterday, I saw Wellington writing for the group and writing a thesis about this show. That requires that is a soldier who prepares for a battle before it's fought. How many people go into battles without even thinking about the enemy? The enemy is your friend who is competing with you, but the market is not your enemy. The market is not your friend. Nobody, you can't force somebody to read or to listen to you. You can't. People just follow. And the people have a right to reject you even after you've done your best. So this business is about you giving your best. It's about you learning to be the best. That's why you has got C2C. Excellence. What do you call that group?
Converting connections to communities.
But it's what? media excellence, not media mediocrity.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, that you have to raise the bar by your works, not by slogans, not by inviting people to be their best. If you are the best, they will be their best in their own interest. But nobody wakes up and does what they need to do. Even the title, just to imagine what should be the title of the show. You know how expensive it is. Yeah? How many people write tons and tons without even a title? They don't even know when they finish and put the last full stop. They don't even know what they were trying to communicate. If you say, why are we talking about journalists? We are talking about journalists because it's one of many masks we wear in life. We are not targeting journalists. But we can use the communicators because some of us have got a voice, but we don't use it. Imagine the creator gives you a benefit to speak, and you can't speak. What would those who have no gift to speak say? Imagine we are 4 of us, 5 of us, and we are a community, and I don't show up. Then I want to be the best. Some people sending me inboxes, Mkoma Masimba. Oh, Mr. Mawere, you are not solving the problem an inch by giving false information to the public. We're still on a quality of journalism topic. That's absurd. Okay, Senior is provoking to come to the show. And what we are saying is we already provoked, Signor. We are not against you. I'm not targeting you. But we are just saying, Signor, there is a group of people under C2C that have said, let's look at this mask called journalism. Let's show up. Let's join. Let's convert ourselves into a community. Yesterday, I heard somebody saying Natasha speaks sense. I didn't know white people speak sense. And I said, no, she speaks sense because she's sensible. But people can judge. They're not stupid. They can hear what you're saying. So it's not because she's white, not because she's black. No, she's herself. And when she's here, she's just speaking herself. And I can't penetrate her mind to say, yeah?
That is tribalism. She's just a human being with an opinion. But then it's tribalism for one to identify her first as a white person before they
No, she never identified herself as a white person. But other people
commented.
Other people will see different. But she never came here to be different. So I think that's a senior. Let's work together. I think we need to find a better way. The better way is to be a community, senior. Then we can fight as a family. Saying, don't you agree that not all families members agree?
No, I totally agree. Not all, even my family, we don't always agree on the same thing. Yeah.
Would you be happier if you agreed on everything?
No. What's the point? There can't be one voice.
That's right.
It just doesn't happen.
Senor, it's good that you are coming to, you want to add something. You're not the only one. Let's be more organized. Wellington, who do you want to be? Today is Wednesday. By Friday, to have 30 people who believe that there's something to talk about on the media.
Of course, the idea is to provoke discussion around various issues. So if there's any interest generated, I'll be very happy about it. Yes.
So let's just keep on talking and keep on doing what we want to do. I don't know whether Natasha, you're enjoying it.
I do. This is my time in the morning. I've got an almost 2-year-old daughter, and this time in the morning, if anybody, and I mean anybody, interferes with my 10 to 11, I am the worst regular monster in the house. I will be like fumes and stuff. Those cartoons with the steam coming out of their ears from anger. This is my time, and I really enjoy sitting here and talking. I with COVID and things, I kind of isolate myself, but because obviously I'm trying to stay safe. But this is the time I can actually socialize with like-minded people that think the same as I do, have the same drive and the same passion. And there are so many topics out there that we could discuss. So we could do, in the beginning when I started off with this show, I always try to prepare for these shows, and then all the papers I would have a written notes and sticky notes everywhere, but I would never get to them because the show literally takes its own direction. And this is what I love about the show, because it's not a scripted thing. It's something that we wing it. We just go with the topic. We just literally just go with it. And I wake up in the mornings for the show. I get dressed. I do my hair, I do my
makeup.
So you see, thank you for showing us that you are human. You are making up.
Thank you so much, because I'm preparing for work, so I just thought that I should multitask, because transport is outside. So I was
keep on. That's what. What when don't be average, thank you.
You taught me well, Mr. Mawera. Here's my sanitizer, so I'm keeping safe. Thank you so much. You taught me well. Guys, thank you so much. I don't think I'll be having my closing remarks, but we'll meet on the one for tonight, right? On the WhatsApp group. I'll follow everything that you say, then we will link up.
All right, no, thanks.
All right. A pleasure slaying you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So that's the so thank you, Natasha. Thank you for just being yourself. It's very expensive for people to be themselves. And
sorry, I believe in being yourself, because there are so many fake people out there, and I believe that being myself, I literally give us so much more stronger and more positive power and energy towards people out there. I think you can, as a person, you can pick up when people are not themselves, and the energy that they transfer to people are not real, and people can feel it. And by knowing how people feel about it, when they walk away from the show and they feel empowered, they feel that they've learned something from the show, and to have that kind of an impact on people just shows you, by being yourself, you are so much more, richer. You are so much more wealthier in life by just being who you are, because the value that you get back from your listeners and your viewers and the people's comments are really, the comments about, having sense because I'm a white person, I don't know, I don't take a offense. To me, that's a comment, sorry, a compliment, because, for someone to actually see that when I'm myself, I'm not just someone that's just pretending, but by being myself, I can actually speak something that you've learned something from. So to me, that's a compliment at the end of the day. And obviously we need to be ourselves, because that's when you are the most genuine, and what you give people is the most genuine gift you can give to people out there, is to be the true you.
No, thank you. And is Wellington still there? We have taken more time, 5 minutes more.
Yes.
Wellington, are you still there? Yeah, we can
I'm
see.
Still there.
We can see now that you are black and white.
Yes. What happened is that I just stepped outside in the sun.
Oh, I know that.
I'm still following the show. Yeah. In conclusion, I just want to say that it is very important that we should be in pursuit of excellence in whatever we engage in, be it this new form of journalism that many are practicing by virtue of having access to these social media platforms and having opinions, and even sometimes being a party to events that are happening in real time. Because when people see a demonstration happening somewhere, they can tweet about it. That is already news. They can send pictures, they can send videos. That is news, and it will be breaking news sometimes. So we're saying, as long as one does that responsibly and to the best of their abilities, that we can even call it excellence. It is journalism. It is effective. Those are my concluding remarks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's thank you very much. Let us keep on maybe getting the conversations around excellence, as Wellington said. What is excellence? How do I get to the top of the chain of service delivery? If I'm a journalist, if I'm a lawyer, doctor, driver, sweeper, how do I get to where the best service is rendered to another person? What does it take? Can I do it alone? Can I do it with others? Do I need a group of other people in the same profession for me to measure against? How do we build standards so that those who are doing well can know that they're doing well before anybody says? They do well for themselves. Who is going to judge us? Can we invent judges so that tomorrow Natasha can be a judge that will force you to listen to me, to read what I write, so that she can be able to say, there is the shining star. How many of us live in darkness, every day doing the same thing over and over again, but nobody's following? How many of us never show up for what they believe in? They want somebody to cause them to do that which they believe in. Where do I learn if I want to be the best in the craft? Who do I learn from? How many people stop learning when they leave school and they get certificates and wonder why the people they left outside school are shining, are getting traction, are getting followers, are getting people to talk about them, not about themselves. Imagine gossip was eliminated from human affairs. What would we be talking about? 90% of an average conversation is about other people, not about the work that we do to help others to get by life. So this show is around building bridges to where you want to go. You have to play a part. There's nothing that can happen if we are not organized in a community, so that those people who choose to be part of a community can get some of the members to judge their works. Makes it easier for you to have a reference, because you have a community that you have built to be able to boost your ego, your morale. When you think you have done your best, somebody says it's the worst I've read. Somebody will say, look, I'm insulted by Mawere every day. But it's not an insult. It's just to provoke others so that they can do the right thing for themselves. How many people don't want to be members of anything? How many people want the best government, yet they don't want to be part of the government? Why not just be animals where there's no government? If I'm hungry, I just eat you. And that's the end of the day. So let us be provoked to do something, to belong to something, so that we can learn from somebody who is closer to us. And those who expose themselves to knowledge who always shine. Those who refuse to learn, even about being members of something, they are not doing themselves a favor. Because the best comes from being part of something. It doesn't come from being the best. It doesn't come from talking. So let us just show by what we say and what we do that we are not exclusionary. If you have got something to say, just join and be part of that bus, even a bus fare. Imagine I refuse to pay the bus fare and I want to be in the bus. Why would one pay the bus fare when others say it's not necessary? Why go to school and not pay for the teachers that give up time so that you learn something? How many of us want to be the best on their terms, not on the terms of those they want to extract something from? How many want to be mentored without themselves putting themselves in the shoes of the mentor?
Mm.
How many of us think other people have been anointed, blessed to have 25 hours in a day when we all have 24 hours in a day? Where do you learn that? To expect somebody to be given more time in a day when it's 1 hour, it's 1 hour for all of us. If you give up time, you show up. So how many of us don't want to be part of something and they want to be the best of nothing? So let us be best of something.
Mm.
If I want to be somebody, let me be part of the bigger whole so that every day my mind is extended and I can see the possibilities that I couldn't see on my own. I only have 2 eyes and I need the body to carry them. So what is it that I can see of the world that is reality? Very small. So all of us, however you think you are small, even if you are the smartest, you are too small to understand life alone. So when we say see to see, we are saying be part of something that you create. You can't choose your relatives. You can't choose who it is that you must belong to, but you can negotiate. So that Wellington, tomorrow you say, my sister Natasha, she's in Durban, you are in Zimbabwe, but for 1 hour you are together.
Mm.
By choice, because you've chosen to belong. But imagine there was no tribalism. Would you want to be human?
You have to identify yourself somehow.
You need identity. Why give me a surname if it's not a tribal name?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah? Why not just give me the first name and I go?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah?
It's identity that makes us who we are. Natasha is a Burmese because she's a Burmese.
Of course.
So thank you, Wellington, for showing up and for taking the lead. So let us look at never complain. Like if I'm a dog, Wellington, should I complain about the train moving?
No. You can just bark because that's what you'll do as a dog. It will be in your nature.
But
So
can I
dogs will
slow
pause.
down the train?
Once the train leaves the station and you are not on board, that's it. It's going to the next station. If you want to join it, you have to go and join the next station. So the
So
train
why
will leave.
can't we just be happy instead of arguing about why I should not be in the train? Just to be content that I've chosen to be outside the train.
Yes. So that is, I think that is clear. Maybe we could be speaking in parables, but to be straightforward, if you want to go to Cape Town and the train is leaving Park Station at 8 p.m. Harare or Pretoria time, if you are not there at 8 p.m. when the train departs, that's it. You either make other plans to join the train or you remain behind. It's as simple as that. One has to be part of has to believe in something for them to join it. So if you don't believe, either you believe or you don't.
But can you start having a negotiation between the dog and the train?
No. There's no negotiation there. The train is very clear about where it's going, who is driving it, and who is on board. And the dog is very clear that it's outside the train. So what it can only do is to bark. It's inevitable that dogs will bark. That's what they do. Anything in motion, they see it, they bark.
Natasha, does a train have ears?
No.
So why would you bark?
At the noise the train makes, and it's moving.
But the train doesn't hear.
No.
So the train is not concerned with the actions of the dog. The train is concerned with the train tracks, the coaches, and whoever is on board, and the staff that mans the train. That is the business of the train. The business of the dog is to bark at the moving train.
So from now onwards, we won't listen to any barking. Let's just keep going.
Yes, because our train is leaving. It's leaving the station and it's on its way to its destination. It only leaves, and there's been people have been invited to buy train tickets so that they can get aboard the train. They can get on board the train. But if they don't get the train tickets, then they have no business associating with the train. They can only watch from a distance quietly or just bark like what dogs are wont to do.
So if somebody says, I'll pay tomorrow, but I want to be in the train today.
Well, maybe they could have their constraints. Maybe that's a conversation they should have privately. But on a public platform, what we're trying to do is to move with the business of the train, which is getting it in motion. But if they want to join the train, they can go to the train to the ticketing office. It's either online or at the station, and they can make payments and arrangements.
But by the time you have payment, the journey is finished. So what do you need the money for? So let's just learn from parables, because we didn't invent them. So let us learn to belong, because belonging is reality. It creates new friends, creates new conversations, creates things that we do. Like you have maybe 6,000 contacts on your phone. There are some you don't even talk to, yet they belong as part of your ecosystem. If you were to talk to all the people in your contact list, your life will be impaired. Your life will be affected. So let's choose the people we talk to. Let those who give up something to gain something be our friends, so that together we can negotiate without anyone feeling they are in my wagon. So we are all going somewhere. So we want to arrive at the day where we have people who shine and we celebrate their craftsmanship as journalists, as doctors, as lawyers, as nurses. We are saying we are searching for excellence, not for one excellence. We're just using journalism as one mask to attack what excellence is and is not. So let's work together so that we can march daily towards the ideal destination where we all can all celebrate those who do the best they do to get where they want to get to. Thank you.
Thank you for those wise words.
Okay.